This is going to be a really fun fight. This was your sleeper, AJ, man. And we have to say, first off, one of these dudes has one of the best nicknames in the game, man. Dakota Harry Bush. Come on, brother. What are we talking about? That is a great nickname. You love to see it. But he is ranked number 185 in the lightweight division. So clearly we have two prospect fighters on our hands here. And Dakota Bush is a plus 160 underdog with a minus 190 comeback for the non-ranked, no worldwide ranking, but his name is VIACHESLAV Borshchchev, right? And I apologize if I butchered the name, but he's better known as Slava Claus. And the reason why is because he puts your ass to sleep, does his little Russian dance and whatnot. That was the Santa Claus hat on, man. That is Slava Claus. The man is a gangster. He is a killer. And I'll tell you, he has grit and determination written all over him because, listen, if you watched he had a fight that was, let me pull it up right here. It was against Kennedy St. Louis, and this was in Titan FC, man. And if you watched that fight, you would know. And this is before Dana White Contender Series. We had a very dominant performance. But, man, this is a dude who is putting it on his opponent, Kennedy St. Louis, right? He's doing it. Everyone thinks, oh, he's about to get the finish. He's lining him up. He's ready for that finish shot. Kennedy St. Louis hits him with the counter shot, rocks him, has him on Queer Street, takes his back, has a locked-in rear naked choke, then reverses the position, mounted, smashing his face in, and Borshchev got saved by the bell on that one. I honestly think if the fight lasted another 30 seconds, Borshchev would have got finished. But what does he do? He comes back with that resiliency, says it's a new round, aka the score is 0-0. Let's get back out there. Let's put it on him. And then he ultimately got the finish, man. Finished with strikes. He was digging shovel shots to the body. It was a beautiful thing to watch, man. Kennedy St. Louis is a very, very good fighter. So seeing that made me say, okay, this wasn't even the Dana White Contender Series, brother, because he goes on to Dana White Contender Series and knocks out his opponent with a left hook. However, Dakota Bush, man, he is no slouch. And in his UFC debut, he fought, he fought Austin Hubbard. Austin Thud Hubbard. That is no easy task whatsoever. So you have to give the man some credit for fighting such a skilled opponent in his UFC debut. And I do think nerves got the best of him on that one because he came out hot. He came out striking, hot, volume, power. Tapered off a little bit as the fight went on, and then he got out-grappled by Austin Hubbard, even though he is a good grappler himself. So the question becomes this, AJ. Borshchev clearly has the hype. He is the minus 190 favorite in this matchup. Really, really good striker, but he has one kryptonite. And it's not the worst kryptonite, but I just think he's not the greatest fighter when you smash him and you put him on his back. You know what I mean? And I think Dakota Bush can definitely take advantage of that. He's a man who has 4 submission victories. I mean, Borshchev's more of a striker. You know what I mean? He's got that snapping jab with the solid lateral movement, the fluid combos with the nasty liver shots, whether it's a body kick, whether it's a shovel shot, it does not matter. But grappling is a little bit of the weakness, and he wants to keep the fight on the feet. Dakota Bush, he'll manage some distance. He wants to keep the fight on the feet too, but I do think he has a slight advantage in the grappling. So what do you think, man? Do you think Dakota Bush looks to take advantage and not try to strike with Borshchev, or say, hey, man, I'm a good striker too. Let's get after it. What do you think?
I think if Bush is smart, man, he doesn't want that striking. If you're watching any of Borshchev's fights, this dude has absolute hands. Yeah. Even in his last fight, who's the fighter he fought in his last one? Or not?
It was Chris Duncan.
Duncan, yes, dude, and he almost had him out in the first with like solid 4 or 5 different body shots, man. Yeah. Put it absolutely to him. Even Paul Felder was calling for the replay, but they wouldn't give it to him because it was a thing of beauty, man. A 5-piece combo right to the breadbasket, hurts like none other, and Duncan was feeling it, man. And honestly, I agree with you in the fact what you were saying before about how Borshchev is worse on the back, worse fighting when he's in the defensive mode. Yeah. But the thing about him, it might not be like most advantageous for him to be fighting that way, but mentally he gets stronger and stronger the more he gets down. You cannot put this dude in a hole and expect him just to sit there and start wallowing in a pit of his own shame. Yeah. This dude is going to be fighting for life, literally until the end. He claims he has over 200 amateur fights or fights all throughout his entire life, and he fights like it, man. He gets a little bit down, and he starts to come back. You see him get a little bit more pissed off and a little bit more aggressive and just building and building and building. And once he's built up so much, it's hard to get back on top of that ball, man. Borshchev, I really, really like this dude, especially for how hard he hits. He's a long time. I forget what he had his kickboxing belt at, but he's been a long time champ for a while. He's coming into the UFC to show he's got hands. But if Bush is smart, he's going to put him on his butt. He's going to keep him there. He's going to keep the ground and pound going because Bush, he did get out wrestled by Austin Hubbard in his last fight, but he's no slouch. I think he just emptied the gas tank a little too early, and now he's going to come back with that in mind and think I'm going to do that. I'm going to drown this newbie just like I got drowned in the Austin Hubbard fight, because that was a big fight for Bush going forward,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I just want to ask about kicks. Who has better kicks? Both of these dudes, that's one of their main weapons is kicks, right? Dakota Bush, he uses his kicks oftentimes to manage distance, whether it's a leg kick, whether it's a teep, whatever. Borshev, though, man, what's crazy is he'll throw combos with the hands and then just throw a head kick out of nowhere, like right up close next to you. Like he doesn't need space. He's got that much dexterity in his hips and flexibility and all that, right? So who has the better kicks, Dakota Bush or Borshev?
It's hard because it's two different kinds of kicks.
Yeah.
I like the way you're phrasing it out because Bush definitely does. He'll throw those leg kicks. He'll throw the teep kicks. He'll just literally try to keep you pitter patter and then throw a big one. In his last fight against Hubbard, they were literally going back to back, just liver kick, back and forth. So he has the power to do it. And Borshev has that kind of Justin Gaethje dexterity where he'll be in the pocket, in punching range, and then crack down a kick instead of to the leg. He's throwing it at your head. It's insane. I'd kind of give it a little bit more towards Borshev just because of his acumen with the kickboxing and everything. But I mean, Dakota Bush is no slouch in the kicks at all.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing to take away from this matchup in its totality is that even though Borshev is the taller fighter, he has a lesser reach. Dakota Bush has 73-inch reach to a 69-inch reach for Borshev. So it's just going to be interesting because I honestly think that because Borshev, don't get me wrong, he can get up. It's not like if he gets put on his back, he's just stuck there, right? So unless Bush says, I'm just going to smother you for the whole fight, that's the game plan, I think this is going to be a really fun kickboxing match between these two. I do think Borshev has the advantage in the striking, but Dakota Bush is a little more well-rounded. We'll see what happens, though, man, because at the end of the day, I don't want to sleep on Borshev. This dude is a absolute killer. He has finished 4 of his 5 wins, but Dakota Bush, he's just a little more experienced. He has 11 total fights in MMA, right? We're not talking about kickboxing. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're talking about being in that cage, mixed martial arts rules, and I liked his ability to try to kind of grapple with Austin Hubbard, even though he got controlled in that fight. It showed promise. So with that being said, let's talk about it, brother. The over and under is 2.5 rounds, and give me your pick on this one. Are you going Borshev or are you going Dakota Bush?
Ooh, 2.5 rounds. Oh, man, I'm actually going to take the under. Ooh. I'm going Borshev, and I'm going KO round 2. I think he's going to get it done. He's got hands. He's fighting at a team alpha male, so they've been working on the takedowns. They've been working on his style. What I like about this dude, too, they were talking about it on the Dana White Contender Series. He just showed up to alpha male and then told all the coaches, told Uriah Faber, hey, I'm going to be in the UFC. Train me. Let's go. That's dedication. That's heart, man. That's grit. That's what I love to see. I'm rocking with Slava Claus, even though Christmas is over. I'm going Borshev KO round 2. What about you, Derek?
All right, brother. Well, that's a bold pick because Dakota Bush has never been finished. And I do think Dakota Bush is a tough fighter. I think that he belongs in the UFC. And I don't necessarily think that Borshev is going to be able to get a finish unless something very impressive happens. So I'm going to take the over on this one. I'm going to go decision, but I still am going to rock in favor of Borshev because even if Dakota Bush is able to control him a little bit, I think Borshev has some of the flashier striking, a little more volume, and when he hits, man, he hits you with those 4 or 5 punch combos, man, digging to the body, digging up top, whatever it is, it pops off the page, So if you're a judge and you're seeing Borshev strike, you're like, oh my God, you get a little enamored with it. Dakota Bush, he's a little more of a gritty fighter, so we'll see what happens. But I think going Borshev at -190 is a pretty smart pick on this one. So.